You guys, we are getting closer and closer to a Bitcoin strategic reserve asset. Now, why is this important? Well, it will provide more credence or give more credence to the movement. It will ensure more price stability, and it will also help to protect our crypto assets. Senator Loomis has been working on this bill for quite some time, and there is anticipation that within the first 90 days of Trump taking office, we'll get it approved, pushed through the Senate, then onto the House. But y'all get this. Mainstream media came out swinging. They are upset. They do not want this thing to pass. 60 Minutes did a piece. MSNBC also did a piece. And there was this Turks and whatever show that did a piece. Altcoin Daily covered them. If you guys are not following Altcoin Daily, please go follow them. They did an excellent job at countering the misinformation that was shared in that piece. So we're going to watch it together.
No, I have no interest in you taking my money, taxpayer money, and giving it to crypto bros because they were your donors. No interest at all. That's a robbery. But there is something we can do right now, which is not buy $100 billion of crypto for no goddamn reason. They might as well call it, "We think you're stupid, Bill."
Cenk Uygur, founder and host of the Young Turks, which has a massive audience. It's a progressive news channel watched by millions of people around the world.
How dare you? Okay.
Just did a takedown of Bitcoin, specifically the United States Bitcoin bill.
The proposal that I have and that President Trump has discussed about a strategic Bitcoin reserve or strategic Bitcoin stockpile.
And Cenk continues to make this a Republican versus Democrat issue when it doesn't have to be.
And on top of all the problems that the American people have, now you got to go buy crypto on behalf of super rich people? No. And if you wanted to pay down the debt.
Let me share with you this full clip. And for the record, I like Cenk's show, but he's wrong about Bitcoin, and I'm gonna prove it to you.
They think we're stupid.
Yeah, that's exactly what that proposal is.
But do not think this is not a coordinated attack on Bitcoin. I mean, 60 Minutes shared this with their audience this last week.
Crypto is a scourge. It's not something that you want in your society. It has no utility. It's just pure speculation. Remember, there's no balance sheet to crypto. There's no financial statements.
You're talking about SEC filings. There's no public disclosure mandate.
Exactly.
Well, that's because Bitcoin's not a company, it's a commodity. And that was former SEC official, a guy that has authority, John Reed Stark, educating the 60 Minutes audience why Bitcoin's bad.
But the other part that people don't really talk about enough are the dire externalities that are enabled by crypto.
What do you mean?
Every single crime you can conceive of is easier to do now because of crypto, especially ransomware, human sanctions evasion, money laundering. North Korea is financing their nuclear weapons program using crypto.
And somebody sent out the message to keep the price low, or attempt to keep the price low, as this was also on MSNBC just yesterday.
And in the new Congress, a Senate Republican, I want you to please pay attention to this. I know you want to tune out, but please don't. They plan to propose a bill that would sell off some of the Federal Reserve's gold to buy Bitcoin. Every crime you can think of is exponentially easier because of crypto.
So in the lead up to Trump's inauguration, everybody is seemingly going after this bill. The bill does propose buying over 1 million Bitcoin over the next 5 years.
Let me keep explaining why this is a disastrous idea.
And let me share with you Cenk Uygur and the Young Turks clip, but just to put everybody on the same page, so we all understand what this bill entails. Here's Cynthia Loomis's 7-point plan outlined in the Bitcoin Act of 2024. This is currently introduced to the Senate, then it has to pass the House, and then it goes to the President before it becomes law. So we are on the first step. But number 1, establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve. This establishes a decentralized network of secure Bitcoin storage facilities distributed across the US. This one is sort of a no-brainer because we already have the Bitcoin due to DOJ confiscations. This just says let's store it because we think it's valuable. Bitcoin purchase program used the Treasury to purchase over 200,000 Bitcoins per year for 5 years. 1 million BTC will be bought in total and held for a minimum of 20 years.
But if you don't dump it there, it's gonna crash later.
This one is the most contentious. Cenk will tell you that. The other parts of the act are as followed. Proof of reserves system, basically an audit. Publish quarterly reports audited by independent third parties. And cryptographic attestation. Consolidate current holdings. all Bitcoin held by other agencies be transferred to the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. That's an easy one. Voluntary state participation. States can participate voluntarily by depositing to/withdrawing from segregated accounts. Okay, again, voluntary, not a big issue. Offsetting costs. The first $6 billion of the Federal Reserve's net earnings each year will go to the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. So I think number 6 and number 2, actually using money to buy Bitcoin, I think that's sort of the big issues. And then protect Bitcoin property rights. Affirm rights of self-custody, meaning U.S. government can't seize or confiscate lawfully owned Bitcoin. Understanding all that, it took us 2 minutes, 1 minute really, to read this entire thing. What does Cenk think of the bill?
So this is a robbery, and we have to stop it. So, and there could be a huge difference between right-wing leaders and right-wing voters. And so we'll see how that plays out. But let me keep explaining why this is a disastrous idea. First of all, as Anna pointed out, their excuse for, this is gonna help us pay down the debt is totally and utterly nonsensical. We have to take money out of all of our pockets, $100 billion worth, to buy crypto for the government.
And first off, that's not true. We do not have to spend any new taxpayer dollars. The Cynthia Lummis proposal would sell a fraction of the government's giant gold stash to buy the Bitcoin, won't cost taxpayers a dime.
We wouldn't have to spend any new dollars. We have reserves at our 12 Federal Reserve banks, including gold certificates that could be converted to current fair market value. They're held at their 1970s value on the books, and then sell them into Bitcoin. That way, we wouldn't have to use any new dollars.
And by the way, US taxpayers would probably thank you for that in the long run. This is how much Bitcoin is appreciating versus gold. Bitcoin's outperforming gold. That's going to increase the US government's purchasing power over time.
And who are they going to buy it from? The people who currently hold lots of crypto. And you're going to be shocked to find out, my guess is that the first people who cash out are donors to Donald Trump. Okay, because they're holding giant amounts of crypto, and as Chris explained there, selling it is really problematic because once you start selling it, it starts deflating.
Actually, Cenk, the big
oh my God, this guy's idiot. Oh my God, just to hear him talk is really frustrating the heck out of me, because if you really understand Bitcoin and how it works, you're not looking to sell. The only reason you would sell is if you had to, or if you wanted to make a big purchase, and so you're taking a little bit off the table. But we don't want to sell just because the price is high. No, because why? What are we selling into? A system that's being devalued on a daily basis? That's the part that a lot of people don't understand. And they're playing on your fears right here, guys. So I really want you to pay attention to what they say. And then you got to do a deep dive into why Bitcoin's different than the current system that we have.
The issue right now is buying the Bitcoin, not selling the Bitcoin, because this is how much new Bitcoin is mined into existence every month. And this is the amount of demand pressure every month from just the US Bitcoin ETFs, Marathon Digital, and MicroStrategy. So you could either mine the Bitcoin and get some of this, or you're going to have to buy the Bitcoin from previous holders. That's just how it works. And I also understand that might be confusing because Bitcoin is the very first hard asset commodity in human history that as demand increases, we can't just make more of it.
One other thing I will say about Bitcoin that I think people don't understand, and this is part of the innovation that's really important. Think about Bitcoin's a commodity, right? The SEC said it's a commodity. It is a commodity. One coin's the same as the next. Okay, fine. Every commodity in the world, if you increase its price, the supply goes up. If gold went to 10,000 tomorrow, we'd mine more gold. If corn went up, if oil went to $300 a barrel, we'd drill for more oil. You would get more, higher price, you would get more. No matter where the price of Bitcoin goes, the issuance schedule is set. There's not going to be any more.
So the more you sell, the more it deflates in value. Mm-hmm. And so they've got to find a way to sell a significant amount of crypto. We're not talking about the average crypto holder, right? You guys are going to be left holding the bag anyway. We're talking about the big guys here.
Well, Cenk, I disagree. Actually, the little guys aren't going to be the ones holding the bag because for the first 13, 14 years of Bitcoin's existence, only little guys, and computer nerds were buying. Since Bitcoin's inception, this has been a retail-driven entity. Institutions actually weren't legally able to get involved since right here. But anyway, you were saying the government does have to buy this Bitcoin from somewhere.
So if on the other hand, the government comes and gives them this giant gift of, I will buy $100 billion of your crypto, number one, they're gonna get the cash out in a way that they couldn't before and turn their fake money into real money. And then secondly, when the government says we're going to buy $100 billion of crypto, you know what happens? The crypto price goes up. Now again, if you're holding crypto, maybe you take advantage and then you dump it right at the same time if you can, right? But if you don't dump it there, it's gonna crash later.
To be fair, it's actually the purchasing power of the US dollar that's crashing. Altcoin Daily on Instagram, link down below.
Yeah, so what he means by it's the purchasing power of the US dollar that's crashing. The dollar today is being devalued. So had you bought Bitcoin in 2020, you would have paid somewhere between $600 and $2,900 for 0.1 of a Bitcoin. Today, 0.1 of a Bitcoin is around $10,000. So that means that it's taking more dollars to purchase something that is a harder asset. So it's dollars that are crashing, but the way the system's set up today is difficult for you to see that and even understand what's happening, which is why it needs to change.
Because it was artificially inflated by the government buying $100 billion worth of crypto for no reason.
Yep.
And the bottom line of it, and the most important part, guys, is they're taking our money, taxpayer money, and giving it to the crypto guys. Why do you think that the crypto guys were doing all of these ads in political spending, right? Not only do they support Republicans, they also supported corporate Democrats.
Exactly, yep.
In primaries against progressives.
Hey, I like a lot of progressive candidates, but maybe it's because progressive channels like yours aren't educating the masses on why something like Bitcoin could be valuable. In this last election in the House, we got over 278 pro-crypto candidates elected. That's well enough for a simple majority if any/when any vote takes place. Also 20 pro-crypto candidates elected in the Senate. This tells you that much like the internet back in 1999, it doesn't have to be politicized. Both Democrats and Republicans can like crypto. And also just like the internet, Bitcoin's not going away. It's a technology.
So no, I have no interest in you taking my money, taxpayer money, and giving it to crypto bros because they were your donors. No interest at all. That's a robbery.
Cenk, I encourage you to do a little bit more research. I
don't know about you, but this was definitely a one-sided, opinionated piece designed to keep you guys in fear. Why not hear a second opinion? Why not get the facts? Because this man definitely does not have the facts. All right, guys, that's it. And if you're still here, that tells me two things. Number one, you're smart enough to get both sides of the story. You're not just going to hear one side and go with that side. You're smart enough to make your own judgments. And you can't do that if you have one side of the story. And number two, you're serious about building your wealth. So if you liked what you saw, hit the like button and follow for more.